An Omaha man is sentenced to probation for his role in a series of exploded porta potties and mailboxes from a couple of years ago. 24-year-old Kalem Barber pleaded guilty to knowingly storing explosive material. This morning, a federal judge sentenced him to 2 years probation and 50 hours of community service. Investigators recovered 20 pounds of flash powder from his home, among other items not commercially available. His attorney said it never occurred to him what would be done with the material in other hands. Some juveniles were also arrested at the time, accused of setting off the explosives in brick mailboxes and porta potties in West Omaha back in November of 2021. Coming up new live at 5, Brian Mastery shares what the suspect said to the federal judge.